we are arriving at the Porsche Experience Center of LA, and we're coming in behind a very special car. This is an LMP1 car, and it might actually be the one that raced at Le Mans and won in class in 2015. It's a hybrid, a little bit different from our Cayenne e-hybrid, and today I'm going to be driving the Experience with an hour and a half, part of the time with a Turbo S 992 version, very much like the one I have, and we have a video of that posted on this channel, and the new 992 GT3, which is the next generation after the 991.2 that I had. And this is going to be a great session, so we're going to take you inside. We'll show you a little bit around the center, and then we'll also give you some shots on the track. Just going to walk by a few of the cars parked here inside. In the background, you can see the area where mechanics are working on the North American Porsche race cars. I'll show you a couple other shots in a moment. Just past a Taycan Sport Turismo, or Taycan sedan. And a Porsche 911 race car. This one runs in IMSA's, ran in the GT Le Mans class. Nick Tandy and Leeds drove this car. This is the RSR, which has the engine moved slightly forward, and I would love to see a 911 with a mid-engine. Give up the rear seats, put a little trunk in the back maybe. And I think all the road cars should have a wing that's at least this big. And then in the background, other cars being worked on here, some of which belong to the Experience Center. Some good-looking stuff over here as well. Every day, and I've never seen one of these close up. This is the Porsche electric race car for the E Motorsports series. Pretty cool. For people who are inclined to do paint to sample on their Porsches, they've got a wall here with removable samples in the shape of Porsches, of course, across all the different colors. Now, the Porsche configurator now has the ability to go in and, for many of the models, but not including the 911 yet because of supply issues, to be able to go in and actually apply the available colors to the current Porsche lineup. And hopefully 911s will be coming soon. And this is a Porsche design studio. Apparently they're expecting Pat and Mark to come to design their car, but there are leather samples on the wall. And of course this 911 is in my personal favorite color that's been on a lot of my cars, GT Silver. This is the 917 restaurant. Even the little pieces of butter are shaped like a 911. And then they have a section here for corporate events too. Really cool. Here's the layout of the Porsche Experience Center in LA, complete with a rendering of the facility itself. On the left is the acceleration track for launch control, and then going around a Nürburgring-like carousel. There's a wet skid pad. Here you approach at 20 miles an hour and go through a plate that shoots you left or right in that water. And then you can see over here some of the far turns of the course itself. S's through here, climbing S's through here, down here, up and around, and then down here. It's a phenomenal course. I was impressed. We were going pretty full out, and pleased to say the instructor said that I was faster than average, which is something we always want to hear, right? But great experience, absolutely just fantastic. So I'm going to be starting out in this black GT3 992 version. Really cool. And you can see in the background many of the other cars that are available here for driving days in the Porsche Experience Center. Okay, here we are, Porsche Experience Center GT3. I'm with Jeff. Okay. In the first half of this hour-and-a-half session, I'm going to be driving this black GT3. In the second half, after about 45 minutes, I'll be jumping into a lizard green Turbo S. In this case, we're heading out to the initial testing, which is a slalom, where you're trying to go through quickly. There's also a rapid braking area and a rapid acceleration area. I think this is a way for the instructor to tell what level you'll be able to be driving at, especially during the lead follow when he's leading and I'm following, to make sure that he's not going to overdrive to a level that I would have difficulty keeping up. And as we head back to this area, which is actually pretty entertaining, we did a few runs on the slalom, a few on the rapid braking, and then a couple acceleration runs. Already here you're going to see that I'm going to be passing this blue 911, which fortunately was sort of a sign of things to come, because we had some other opportunities too where the drivers let us go by or instructors let us go by because we were quick. Here is a shot of the wet skid pad in the background. That's me tooling around. I'm still in the black GT3. Interesting comparison between the GT3 rear-wheel drive. It was much easier to maintain a drift than in the all-wheel drive Turbo S, because it's counterintuitive. When you want to get out of the skid, you actually put power on to have the front wheels draw you forward. So it was really an interesting learning experience. Okay, finally, we're on the performance driving circuit. We're closing in on a black GT3. I'm in the green 992 Turbo S, following Jeff, the instructor, who's driving the Taycan 4S, which he says is the fastest car at the Experience Center. Here we are toward the middle of the first lap, and as I look at these videos that Megan shot while I was there, I see that it's interesting to look at the line the instructor took compared to my line. In fact, there was one part of the course, the climbing S's that you saw before, where he could always get a little gap on me. And just a couple seconds that I was thinking, like, how does he do that? It made me fall even farther behind. So I cannot believe how good these professional race drivers are with the concentration lap after lap after lap. Lap 2, and we're still chasing the black GT3, which, by the way, was a blast to drive in the first half of the session before getting in the Turbo S. And we're approaching one of the best sections of the track with the climbing S's going up and then diving down into another set of S's on the other side of the hill. We're gaining speed now, and the instructor has radioed ahead to have the GT3 give us a wave by. And one of the things here is you get to where you're driving pretty much at your personal 10/10ths. Full acceleration on the straights, braking as late as possible. In fact, the instructor brakes a little bit earlier just to give you a signal that you're going to be hitting the brakes. But it's a great experience. We're back, and in this video, let's listen to the cars and some of the spectators in the area. Sorry for the wind noise here, but I'm going to let the engine sounds speak for themselves. Here we're coming down the back straight into the horseshoe and then up the climbing S's and down the falling S's on the other side. And you'll see a comparison with these speeds to the cool down laps that will be coming up in just a couple of minutes. Here we're coming down into the horseshoe and into a decreasing radius off-camber right-hander going into the long straight that goes over the back of the course. And while these aren't Daytona 24-hour speeds, I really felt I was driving all out. I've been to driver schools, driven GT3s on the track, and I was giving it all on this segment. I'll include another video from a later lap going around the horseshoe up through the climbing S's for reference, and I did feel that the more time I spent in the car, the faster I was able to go. I wish there weren't so much wind noise, and I have a solution for that for future videos, by the way. But here I think I was definitely, by this time, going faster than I was earlier in the session, and you'll see quite a difference between this and the cool down laps that are coming up. And we were gapping some of the cars behind us too, which of course felt really cool. The instructor in the lead car had just said, okay, now we're going to do a couple of cool down laps. The interesting thing is that the speeds still were pretty good. It was like going out on a Sunday afternoon drive on great roads. And I tried to get around this entire circuit a couple times without using the brakes. I mean, the car handles that well that it was possible to do that. So here we're on the cool down laps. It feels really slow compared to the hot laps. And it's primarily to cool down the brakes, but it's also to cool down the entire powertrain, engine, and transmission. I'm including this other cool down lap. We're almost done with the cool downs, but not only for later reference to compare the speeds of these with the hot laps, but also because at the very end you'll hear the wonderful sound of a GT3 starting up. And now for some of the saddest words in motorsports, that's when the instructor says, stay to the left, follow me, because we're going to be going in as we've come to the end of this session. And a great session it was. Thanks to Jeff. So how would I sum up my visit to the Porsche Experience Center in Los Angeles? Well, let me say, first of all, it's not too early to start hinting. That's what I did. I was saying what a great idea it would be to get a Porsche Experience Center experience for a birthday or a holiday. And finally, after some effort, it worked. It's well worth it. And of course, for me, the most exciting thing is out in the track area, especially the handling track, 1.3 mile course with all kinds of different challenging turns. A great experience with great instructors. There's also that straightaway where you can use launch control, a long straightaway, and then it ends in a carousel paved in concrete, just like the one in the Nordschleife. That's great. Wet handling areas, a tremendous amount that you can do outside in these typically hour-and-a-half programs. As you know, I did it with the Turbo S and the GT3, the 992, which I was really anxious to drive. But they have every vehicle there. I had a Boxster once that I loved with its mid-engine. I'd love to do a Boxster Cayman session. And then inside, you can dine in the 917 restaurant or in the Speedster Cafe. You can shop in the merchandise area where they have a lot of things from model cars to clothing. And they have a design center where a person can make an appointment to go much more deeply into the options than you can do on the configurator or even at a dealership. Now, I've been here a couple times and I can't wait to go back. It's a great experience. So I would say, I hope you can arrange to go to the one in LA or the one in Atlanta. And I'd also like to add, if you're new to Chris Young's SoCal Autofocus channel where we're posting this, check out subscribing. He's got hundreds of videos
We posted a couple at the end where you'll see his logo pop up in just a second. But they're from Cars and Coffee events, walk-arounds, driving events, and Porsche Club events. I think you'll see a lot to like there. And I know he'd be really thrilled to have you subscribe. Thanks very much. All the best.